Before we jump into this episode, I want to take a moment to tell you about the upcoming Texas Woodworking Festival, a 2-day celebration where makers and enthusiasts come together to share their passion for the craft. Join us for a weekend filled with creativity, community, and inspiration. You'll meet tool manufacturers, furniture makers, woodworking clubs, content creators, and more, all in one place with great food and drinks, and of course, all things woodworking. It all takes place in Austin, Texas on September 26th and 27th. The festival features an education track on both Saturday and Sunday, where you'll have a chance to learn from masters of the craft. Plus, there's also a special pre-conference content creator track on Friday, September 25th. Head to TexasWoodworkingFestival.com for more details and to grab your tickets. Use code MWAP10 to get 10% off your tickets. I'll drop a link in the show notes. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, there's something for everyone at the Texas Woodworking Festival. Don't miss it. Welcome to the MWA podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Sean, Brian, and Jeff. Today, we're excited to have Jon Joffe back as our guest. Jon is an accomplished toolmaker, woodworker, and hand tool enthusiast. So welcome back to the show, Jon.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been great. You know, we were talking before the show. We thought it was, maybe a year ago, but it's been a while. So if you want to hear, So if you want to hear all about Jon and all that kind of stuff, he was on episode 419 and 420. So as we're recording this, almost 200 episodes ago. Amazing.
It was before the last Handworks, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
Exactly.
I was not present at. So
we missed you.
I will be at the one coming up.
Well, fantastic. Fantastic. So not only are you going to be on the podcast, but we'll see you in a few.
Perfect.
So before we get talking with Jon and getting more into some new stuff that he has for us, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Sutherland Wells knows that exceptional craftsmanship deserves an exceptional finish. That's why they handcraft their full line of low and VOC exempt finishes and stains using the highest quality, cold-pressed, sustainably grown tung oil. Their unique polymerization process delivers the deep penetrating, grain-enhancing, non-yellowing protection of tung oil, while reducing the drying time, allowing the finish to build a beautiful, durable film. Sutherland Wells, the timeless look of traditional oil made for the modern woodworker, and use code MWA25, that's the numbers 25, for 10% off your first order.
And we'd like to thank Sutherland Wells for their sponsorship of this episode. And with that, let's thank our patrons. So who do we have to thank this week?
Yeah, we know we like to give our patrons a big shout out. Today we're giving that particular shout out to a longtime friend of the show, member of the Green Jacket Club, Brian Brazil. Thank you, Brian, for supporting us. And if you would like to challenge Brian for his position as a repeat guest and a friend of the show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/MWA podcast.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Brian. And yeah, since we just had Wilbur on, I expect a call from Brian here shortly.
we got to keep him level.
Exactly. Well, let's move on to what's in the shop. So, Sean, what are you working on?
Picking up sticks in my backyard because storm damage and crap keeps happening. So thankfully no damage, but in the last week, there's been two like, oh, look, that came down. Great. And don't know why. I mean, our trees are super old and it's always like the worst storm happens and then 2 days after something falls down.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the biggest one was like a month ago, and I still have a section of that under a tree that's got a giant hole cord through it, and there's a reason it came down. But no, just kind of keeping up, trying to really work's got me super busy, but I skipped out of that today to golf a little bit with the family, so all's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the whole family went golfing?
Yeah, that's what happened. So yesterday my wife goes, I have a tea time at 3:30 if you can make it. I went, excuse me? She goes, well, Liam's good and Connor, doing this, and I'll be off work. I'm like, okay, I guess I can. So yes, all four of us went out. We played 9, and then it was a deal where if you after 3 o'clock, you could pay for whatever and you play however long you can. Mm-hmm. So I ran right up against this episode, but we were like, okay, we got to wait to tee off because of whatever, but we'll do like cart versus cart scramble, and so we were just kind of having fun with it. And me and my youngest son are the better of the four, so we dominated, but that happens.
Is that when you say your youngest son, you're with me?
Yeah, no, it was like we were already in the cart, but we talked afterwards. We're like, who's the fair team? He's like, me and mom are actually pretty good, so it's probably you and mom.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I mean, but like we were like par was winning holes. It wasn't like we're not like out.
I figured you do like parents against kids or something,
Yeah, we could. It's interesting because like my youngest is the best, and then my oldest doesn't care, but
Mhm.
can really play well at times.
Mm-hmm.
So he might not be able to get off the tee, but he somehow finds you from the side of nowhere. He'll get it within 6 feet of the pin. Like amazing. Like I don't know how he does it. So yeah, it's a little mixed bag there. And then my wife, she's improving. Actually, we'll see at the end of the month because she just signed up for a clinic that is 4 weeks long. It's just 4 Fridays for a few hours at a time to like break down and go through the whole thing. But she's been playing for like 3 years, so it's probably a good time to do that. But we will we'll see how that goes. Anyway, Brian, what are you working on?
Not a whole lot woodworking wise, but I was traveling recently down in Virginia for some video work, kind of finishing up dealing with all that. And just between day job and 2 part-time gigs, I've been working like 12 to 16 hours a day for the last 3 weeks. So haven't had a whole lot of time. We did get some landscaping infrastructure moved around. Our house is built in 2000, so a lot of the landscaping aged out. And if you give my wife access to hydraulics, she's going to rip things apart at high speeds. So we have been moving. Yesterday I laid got a fountain running in the back, moving some landscaping around, power lines, all the fun stuff. And then I have some terrible news. I've been talking about this Hobbit carport, as Kyle calls it. I'm having all sorts of problems with the mower. It's got a bumper sensor in the front, and somehow the sensor got buggered up, and it thinks there's something in front of it, so it just stops randomly, or it tries to back up and says, "Hey, I'm stuck," and there's nothing within 30 feet of them. So I've been working with the company to tech shoot it. This basically just nothing we could do remotely, so I got to send the dang thing back. So I'm kind of pissed off. To tell you completely the truth. I mean, these things are not cheap.
Yeah.
It didn't run into anything at like 20 miles an hour. This thing goes like a mile and a half. So disappointing for sure. I really wanted to get that working, and this thing built this fall. It's kind of a cool little project. So that's a bummer.
Well, if this one doesn't work out, is there a competitor you can buy?
Yeah, there are. There's something coming down the pike. Current government administration in the U.S. Is looking to ban foreign-made robots, essentially. So, like your Roomba.
Yeah.
And the mowers will fall into that category.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. This thing travels at whatever. I'm not going to get into it. It's just it can barely handle going over a stick. It's not going to come and attack you. So, yeah. But if I'm going to replace it, I have to do it relatively soon.
Right.
So sometime this year. So we'll see. Other than that, it's just shop cleanup. Got my assembly table all cleared off. Getting rid of some old stuff that's kind of in the back. I have this. I think everybody has one. I have this big scrap pile. I'm just trying to cut it up and get it out of the way so I can move around in there. And I need to finish the wife's office soon. And I just found out that I'm going.
What? You're getting rid of your scrap pile? That's sacred wood.
I know it's. It's all hardwood too to be great for a fire pit, but my fire pit pile is probably 4 feet high at this point. So, yeah, I got to have the heart-to-heart with myself and throw it out. Although I do have a box of like super exotics. If anybody wants to come and need some turning pieces, come to Pennsylvania, I'll give you some. So that's it. Not a whole lot in my world. Jeff, how about you?
I've just been working in the shop, building some forms for the Bog 6 ladder back. Have 4 sets now, 4 set of the forms, so 8 bending jigs with the metal strap on them. I just kind of prefer that over jumping them to the drying form. So the drying form and the bending form, they're the same form basically, but I just like to have the just to keep it in a couple days on the actual metal strap. So built some of those up, and then last night I did a demo for the Tennessee Association of Wood Turners on oval turning. So I've been this past week been doing a couple oval bowls here and there, just kind of practicing it out, and so it's been kind of fun doing that. And then today went over at Greg Pennington's shop and helped Larry and Greg out I turned all the stretchers for 8 stools, so 32 stretchers. It was a lot of fun. We knocked it out. I was turning the stretchers, bringing them back into the shop, and then Larry and Greg were putting the stools together. So got to put 8 stools together in 6 hours. So it was kind of it was a lot of fun. A lot of joking around, good time.
Yeah.
So
how what size stools? Counter height, low ones?
yeah, so he did. It's I guess it's for kind of a variety of things. Larry made them for his church. So I know he's done some other woodworking projects for his church. But he's made basically, I think it's for the band, and then he has some shorter people, some taller people. So some are like some countertop height and stuff like that. So it's a good mix.
Okay,
so
cool.
four shorter ones and 4 taller ones. So, but the stretchers are the same.
Yeah. Cool.
Keep on. Yeah. So that was pretty good. What about you, Kyle?
Not too much. Just some orders I'm working on. That's mainly what I've been doing, and fun with 3D printing again. I've been I've only had a 3D printer for a few months now, and every time it's a learning experience. So y'all may remember those little angle gauges, the little I was able to 3D print those little plates that has the angles on them and stuff. And so anyway, I had that all dialed in. I need a new batch of seed drilling guides, so I need to print some more. So I went to print some more. I had everything dialed in. All of a sudden, it wasn't printing right. It's all fuzzy and all this kind of stuff. And I went, well, what's going on? And then it was like, okay, maybe my filaments somehow got wet, but it's never been above 20%, because I stored in this little container that has a thing, and my AMS has a thing. I went, okay, well, let me dry it. I dried it, and then it still didn't work. So I'm all over the internet saying, and everyone keeps saying, hey, it could be your flow rate. It could be. And then finally, I was able to find out that the particular, I used PLA Tough Plus for this stuff. And when I dried it with for the settings for regular PLA, apparently it needed to be another 10 degrees
hotter.
Yeah. So I dried it 12 hours, 10 degrees hotter. Did that last night. Did a test print today. Perfect.
There you go.
But it's like one of those things I go, this printed perfect just 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. They said, the weather in Galveston isn't conducive to such an
No, it's not. It's not. And I've been a stickler, about maintaining the humidity level and make sure everything's, stored in airtight containers and stuff. But I guess it can still, if it sits around long enough, it can even pick up some moisture. But I just, it's like one of those things. It's like woodworking to some degree. You think you got everything mastered, and all of a sudden, wait. It's not working right. What the world's going on here? And you got to relearn everything. But, hey, it's a learning experience. But we can probably talk to John about that. I think he has a little experience in those realms too. But yeah, it's like, just having some for a few months, it's like every time you run into a problem, it's like self-diagnosing. And then, so now I should be able to, now I at least know what it looks like when the filament's too wet.
Did you have to change nozzles? Did you need like a carbon fiber nozzle?
No, actually, to print those plates out to make them, where they're nice and legible and all that kind of stuff, I have to drop it down to a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. Mm-hmm. So normally I run a 0.4 for most of my stuff. But
well, that must take forever to print.
It takes about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, to print. Here, this is great podcasting. To print one of these, it takes 2.5 hours. It only costs about 25 cents or 30 cents according to the thing, but it takes 2.5. And that's the main drawback with 3D printing is every time you want to tweak something, it's great, but it takes you 3 hours before you know if that tweak worked or not. Yeah. Not in all cases, but at least an hour or two. But so it's
why you got to get like 4 or 6
exactly. Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Listen, we've entered this era of 3D printing now where bamboo has been on the market for almost 4 years.
Yep.
There are bamboos showing up used. I bought my first one used, and I got a very good price on it, and it only had like 300 hours of printing.
Wow.
And yeah, so and bamboo kind of caused this other thing to happen where like all the other makers who were serious started making printers that worked a lot better. So they almost all work pretty well now.
Yeah.
So
I may have to look at picking another one up, but I can, after doing this, I can understand why people have 3, 4, or the,
or
20. Yeah, exactly. Or own mini print farm. But with that, John, what are you working on in your shop?
What am I working on? So I'm getting ready to go to Handworks, and the tool that I will be bringing, I only have one, is a replica of the Stanley 5061 marking gauge. Some of you listening may know what that is. It's really the end of the wooden marking gauge era. It was a gauge that Stanley made in like the late 70s for only a couple years. I think they made it for 3 or 4 years. It was only sold in the UK, and kind of like 4 decades too early. But it's a really good design. The beam is canted at a 45-degree angle. The locking screw is plastic, and there's a pressure plate as well that's also plastic. And so my version, the 2 plastic parts are 3D printed, and then the wooden parts are, I have a little CNC router. And so I've got like 160 of them, and I'm like 95% through this batch, and that's all I've been doing for like 2 months.
Wow. If you're selling at that price point, you're going to sell every single one of them.
I hope so, because man.
Now are you selling? Now you have the kit. So is this the kit you're selling, or is this?
Yeah. It's this weird thing where it's not like really a kit. The kit is basically finished.
Yes. You just need to thread the thing through the thing, and it's made. Like,
yeah,
it's like IKEA.
It's IKEA assembly, but it's a flat pack. Here you go. You can steal it and go and say, here you go.
The tool. So I'm sure you're all familiar with. There are some very inexpensive wooden marking gauges available for sale. I'm not going to name company names, but they're pretty unfinished, and they're sort of like bare minimum requirement to function as the tool. The kit that I'm selling is essentially that, although the fit and finish is better. But the idea is basically like the end user will do maybe a little bit of hand sanding, install the pin, and put some finish on it, and then it's like a ready to go tool.
Awesome. That's really cool. And you do have an original, like, and it's in
do.
pictures. So
I will have the original with me at Handworks, because it's a funny marking gauge. It's not symmetrical. The main block is like kind of shaped like an apple.
Yeah.
And it looks really silly, and then you like put it in your hand for the first time, and it's like the best marking gauge you've ever used.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see that, like how it locks in with your fingers as you draw it back.
Yeah.
So very ergonomic grip.
It is extremely ergonomic, and the beam locks without any slop because it's locking inside of a corner essentially. It's a funky looking tool that like I have a few that I've made that I work. My day job is in a wood shop, and I have like 4 or 5 of them at work, and like they've replaced all the other marking gauges that I used to keep at work because they're just better. They work better. So that's what I've got going on.
Well, nice. Well, before we dive a little bit deeper into this, for new listeners that might not want to go back to episode 419, give us a little brief bio of where you grew up and how did you get into woodworking?
So I am originally from the suburbs of Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
For those of you in the mid-Atlantic, like 30 minutes north of the city. I grew up in the same neighborhood that John Waters grew up in.
Nice.
With his films. So yeah, I grew up there. And then I moved when I was 23. I drove all the way across the country to Portland, Oregon, which is where I currently reside. That was about 15 years ago. And I didn't get into woodworking until I moved to Oregon. I had originally gone to college for printmaking. I went to art school in Maryland briefly. And I moved to Portland originally to pursue printmaking and bookbinding. And at some point, I sort of had a chance to like do some woodworking and use some hand tools. And it was sort of like woodworking is a lot like bookbinding, but you can make a lot more things. Bookbinding is pretty limited to making just books. And I got really into at least in my case, like I learned most of what I know from watching YouTube videos, and I discovered Paul Seller's YouTube channel and got really into hand tools, got really into using hand planes. And then around COVID, I started playing with the idea of making hand tools, which I did not realize at the time is hard. It's really hard. It's also kind of not woodworking.
Yeah.
Like it, I'm like now a bad machinist. And like I have 2 3D printers, and like I know a lot about CNC machines, and I know a lot about like machinist stuff. And it just so happens that like when you're making tools out of wood, the material is wood, but like you're not really doing woodworking. It depends what you're making. People that like make hand planes, I think that's way more woodworking than like what I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've had some tool makers on that are making all kinds of, tools mainly out of wood, but they're using, machinist tools to make those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they got their Bridgeport milling wood and that kind of stuff,
If only I had the space for a Bridgeport, because they do show up for not a lot of money. And, when they're cheap, they're usually pretty worn out. But for my needs and the scale that I'm working, it would be amazing to have a Bridgeport. But instead, I buy broken CNC machines and fix them, and which I've gotten reasonably good at. But yeah, my current setup, I can't really mill a whole lot of metal. I do have a metal lathe, but it's very tiny. So
okay. Well, so what kind of CNC machines do you have?
I have a TAG CNC lathe.
Okay.
It's a TAG Turn 2000, and it's a sweet little CNC lathe. It can only make like, I think the max part length is like 5 inches, and it doesn't have a tailstock. But it can do everything like a modern metal lathe can do. You can cut threads, you can do contours. I've primarily used it to just do like parallel tenons on dowels. The place at my day job, we make a lot of pegboard displays for retail stores, and I don't know if you guys know about this problem, but manufactured dowels are often not the size they say they are.
No way.
And so quite often, like we'll buy dowels, and I'll just I'll make like 200 pegboard basically like oversized pegboard pegs.
Yeah.
So I have that machine, and then I have a little benchtop CNC router from the late 90s. It's a Techno Easel brand. And that one, I had to completely build a new controller for it, amongst a bunch of other modifications. It was not in good shape when I got it, and it's still not really in good shape, but it actually works pretty well now. And then I have 2 Bamboo Labs printers, and actually I have a third printer that's a project that I don't need to go into that. But when they're cheap, I try to buy them because.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned you do woodworking in your day job. So you mentioned I'll do a lot of retail kind of stuff. So
yeah. So I work in a commercial cabinet shop in Clackamas, Oregon, which is the suburb just south of Portland. And we do like a lot of retail builds. We kind of do a lot of everything. We build a little bit of furniture here and there, so that usually falls on me. Of the 4 of us that work in the shop, I have the most experience like building things out of solid wood. And like I just made a coffee table for a customer, a long-time residential customer actually, but like probably 60% of the work is retail stuff. So it's a lot of chipboard, a lot of laminate. We're currently working on a bunch of doctors' offices, like 30 of them. That's gonna and it's all the same like fake ash looking laminate,
right?
Ash as in the species of wood.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, I don't know if any of you have ever worked with solid surface acrylic countertops. It's a synthetic stone product. It's basically plexiglass that has stone dust in it, and it's it looks like stone. It kind of feels like stone, but unlike a lot of like actual stone, I'm sorry, these words I'm using are not very specific. Basically, it's like the lowest grade of synthetic stone, and it's not really suitable for like a kitchen because it's not very heat resistant. But the reception desk in like a doctor's office, it's like perfect for. And
Right.
most, like anytime you go into a gas station or a McDonald's, the countertops in there are almost always solid surface acrylic. And the whole thing with it is that it's a stone product that you can fabricate with woodworking tools pretty easily. And that's all I've done for 2 weeks. So I'm kind of, it's not a favorite of mine. If
the dust has to be.
The dust is really bad. I've been wearing, I don't know if you, in the video, you can see it, my
I can
face.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been wearing a dust mask for like 95% of my workday for the past 2 weeks. Plus, right now in Oregon, there is a multitude of like very serious forest fires, and the air quality is really bad. And our shop is like just an open warehouse. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I saw all that stuff in Spokane and stuff like
it's
that.
really, it's really unfortunate.
Mhm.
There
Something
are,
like 60. The last I saw was like they evacuated like 65,000 or something like that.
and the
Wow.
fires, like the one nearest to us, so about an hour east of Portland, Oregon, is Mount Hood.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a fire that's like 20 minutes from Mount Hood, and that's really terrible. The potential is really terrible. In particular, there's like a couple of really cool old woodworking, like buildings that woodworkers really like,
Right.
Timberline Lodge being one of them, and it's like the fire is very close. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen. Thankfully, in Portland, we're pretty insulated from the forest fires. The 15 years I've lived here, we've never had to evacuate, but it could happen. So, yeah, so that's,
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you.
yeah,
then.
really.
Yeah. So that's because I saw an article where they arrested somebody for setting these fires, or at least some of them.
No.
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. And like the thing is, there are so many forest fires going right now that I have like no idea which, because I also saw that headline.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there are like 9 fires near us within like 2 hours. Plus, there's some up in like Vancouver, BC too.
Wow. Yeah.
Which,
Yeah,
you know,
it was a couple of weeks ago. There was some central Canadian fires that came down through Michigan and Ohio, and then off to the East Coast that we saw incredibly horrible smoke from. We weren't like in fear of the fire, but like I can't imagine being that close to it.
yeah, it's well, and the thing too, like one of the cool things about being a woodworker in Portland, Oregon, is that like the entire region is a giant forest. But the downside is that when it's hot and dry, you know, forest fires get started like by accident all the time. It's
Right.
a real problem. And like we had a really dry winter, so like everyone knows Portland, Oregon's really rainy.
Mm-hmm.
We had a really unusually dry winter, so there's a lot more dead trees about, both like in the urban canopy, but then also elsewhere. And yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. I think a lot of that. Anyway, this is our new weather podcast, but
Yeah.
yeah. Because I think a lot.
Podcast.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's like because in my area we always pay attention to the El Nino and La Nina cycles and stuff like that because they affect hurricanes and stuff like that. So
We don't have
I
this
know-
here.
Yeah, I know. But apparently they were saying, you know, we had a super strong El Nino this year,
Mhm.
which really impacts drought areas around the world, basically, because it's because it's a water temperature pattern in the Pacific, but it really affects patterns over the entire globe. So some areas like Oregon, which have a lot of rain, when this happens, hey, they don't get as much rain. Other areas that are dry get a whole lot of rain, and so forth. So anyway, so much for our weather podcast. I'm probably wrong on all that, but anyway, put in your corrections in the comments and we'll get back to you. But back to Jon Joffe, Toolworks. So how's it been going? I mean, you've been doing this since what, about 2022 or something like that?
Well, yeah, I really started like right before COVID. It was like the Christmas season before COVID. But it's sort of been a slow slog upwards. Like one of the things that took me kind of a couple of years really to realize is like, if I'm going to do this in any sense of the word professionally, like I need to have CNC machines. and they're very expensive.
Right.
And so like one way to get around that is to buy used, and especially to buy used broke, like machines that don't work. And so there was this like 2-year period where I did that a couple times, and two machines basically didn't work out. And I didn't really lose any money because I was able to take them apart and sell the parts. But I ended up like just wasting a tremendous amount of time and energy. The flip side is that now I know a lot about how they work. I never thought that I would like be someone that cares about soldering electronics. And now I don't know. I'm really into CNC stuff and automation. And finally I have a machine that works.
So let me ask you this. So how much was your soldering gun or iron?
Oh, I have a Harbor Freight one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have literally my entire soldering kit is like I think Harbor Freight has 2 or 3. I have the most expensive from Harbor Freight, but it's still only like $35. It's something really reasonable. The solder I use is from Harbor Freight. I live really close to a Harbor Freight, and so it's really convenient to go there.
Yeah.
In fact, all of my electrical connectors are also, because they sell like a multi-pack, like a big multi-pack for not very much money.
Of like crimp-on connectors?
Yeah, well, I take crimp-on connectors, I take the plastic sleeve off, and then I solder them.
Yeah, okay.
And with the exception of like some specialty connectors that you occasionally need in CNC machines, they work just fine. Yeah, obviously you like heat shrink the area around the connector so you don't inadvertently electrocute yourself while you're doing maintenance on the machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need to have like a good soldering setup. You just have to have basically all a soldering iron is just a hot thing.
Yeah.
It's a heat source, right?
It's a heat source. So nothing crazy.
Yeah. I was just wondering because I recently picked up a soldering iron because my old one was not working very well, and I was like, I just picked up a cheap one too, but I was looking and I was going, holy crap, you can spend some bucks on a soldering iron.
Yeah. If I soldered all the time, I would spend the money. But I usually at this point I solder like once a month for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's not worth it, right?
It's really a good skill as a woodworker though. You can very easily make new power cords for things.
Yeah.
I'm now like the guy at work that does that. And like now that I know, I'm like, everything is wired. So I'm like, you got it. Everything in the shop where I work, like, and I've fixed a bunch of stuff and it was all fine. It was all safe. But like, now that I can solder, I'm like, oh, every single connection should be soldered because that's the best.
Yes, exactly.
Once you know how to use it, and you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right?
Yeah. We just got a saw stop at work. So like the shop I work in is like a 40-year-old shop, and we've been slowly upgrading equipment. We just got a saw stop, which is awesome. But if you get one of the industrial ones, the power cord is not attached. And I was like, that was my first test of like, can I make like a power cord for like a real industrial machine, not just like a router or something.
Right.
And turns out 3-phase power is really simple. Doesn't really matter which leads you connect where, as long as the ground is the correct one. The danger is that if you have it connected wrong, it'll spin backwards. That's literally also, this is not like electrical advice. Do not try this. Unless you're sure of what you're doing. But yeah, with three-phase electricity there's very little like that you can do to damage the machine by connecting the wires wrong. Actually, when you're setting up the saw stop in the manual, you have to take the blade off in order to try turning it on, because they're like, there's a chance the blade will spin backwards and the nut will come off and the blade will go flying.
Oh,
which is like literally in the manual.
Okay. So they know
that makes sense. That makes sense with the nut. It definitely would. Well, interesting.
Which means it happened once.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And they went, holy crap, we need to write this down.
So how long have y'all been using the industrial saw stop?
We've had it for 4 months.
Okay.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Maybe we bought it 2 years ago. Like we bought it right when I started working there, and then it sat in the crate. I was just
too busy to get to it. Yeah.
Busy. And then we also we do our own finishing, and we didn't have a spray booth when I first started working there, and through another shop in our area closed, and we bought their spray booth, and there were like multiple things that had to happen before that booth could go in the building, and the shop's not really like, basically we had to wait for the booth in order to know where the saw was going to live.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
And it was a whole thing. I want to tell you more about this other shop that closed because it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
In Portland, if you build cabinets professionally, almost no one makes their own doors or drawers. We used to have 2 shops that did it. Now we only have one. One of them closed. And it's for me, it was just like such a mind-blowing realization. Like, oh, of course that's a business where like all they do is make dovetail drawers and frame and panel doors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might do some other stuff too, but like, they have like a $500,000 CNC machine that cuts like 60 drawers at once,
Yep.
But yeah, the one that had been around for like 25 years, the owner retired, and we got their spray booth and some other stuff too. Yeah,
that's very interesting. The same thing around here. I'm sure somebody took their place, but when we built this house that I live in, the builder says, hey, I'm going to do the custom built cabinets and stuff like that. So he built all the cabinets because, I'm going to contract out the doors and drawers to this other company. So I had to go down there and pick out what doors and stuff and all that kind of stuff and, all that to match. And that place shut down probably 10 years ago. So I was like, interesting.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's like, at least in where I am locally, it is shocking how inexpensive doors and drawers are. Like, once you know what the numbers look like of like having your own cabinet shop and being like, we could just make those, and it's like, no,
It's not worth the time.
Yeah, and I think you
costs
can
more
go.
money.
Yeah, I think you could go online now and order
Yeah.
doors and drawers and stuff like that. So
we occasionally end up making doors. One of the people that is one of my coworkers actually worked at this shop that closed, and he worked there like 15 years ago, and he just ran shapers all day making rails and stiles.
Oh, wow.
And panels. He's like our shaper guy. And so like in the rare situation where we have a door that's like a weird thing or like a weird species, I'll make one. And I'm really thankful because I don't want to run a shaper like ever. They are terrifying.
They scare the hell out of me too.
yeah. I had a chance to buy one time and went, no. I hear they're not bad if you got an automatic feeder on them.
And we do. We have 2 shapers. We both have automatic feed. But it's like.
Yeah. You see it every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do y'all have like sliders and stuff like that in there?
No, I wish we had a slider. We have a 20-foot wall-mounted panel saw.
Oh, okay.
Which is sweet. It's from Switzerland. Yeah. It's like a really sweet thing. But we don't have a slider. I wish we had a slider.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that is cool. Well, so back to the Jon Joffe Toolworks. So right now you're only making the marking gauge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you told us a little bit about what goes into the kit, but tell us a little bit more about what materials you're using, the tools, the process and stuff.
So in an effort to keep faithful to the original, they're all made of European beech, which is somehow the least expensive wood where I live.
Really?
Yeah, it's it actually had it has been the least expensive wood for a long time, at least as long as I've been going to lumber yards, which is about 12 years of my life. Apparently we have a really good trade arrangement with Germany, coupled with the fact that they've had laws in place for over 200 years that prevent over harvesting. Plus the fact that the trees are like huge and the first 20 feet don't really have branches. So the yield is really good when they cut them down. For a long time, European beech 4/4 rough was $3.95 a board foot. It is now $5.95 a board foot.
Still,
just really inexpensive.
That's not bad at all.
Literally, that's cheaper than anything that like comes from within 100 miles of where I live in Portland.
That's crazy.
They have the only thing that's actually cheaper is you can buy Pacific maple, which is a soft maple, and that's like 50 cents less a board foot.
Wow.
But yeah, so I European beech, which is like the preferred wood for tool making, regardless.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is like not just the one lumber yard I go to, but like basically all of the lumber yards in the area have it. And they also have 3-inch thick European beech. So one of these days I'm going to get around to making some more hand planes.
Yep.
Which is a cool thing. Kind of hard to come by unless.
Or a workbench.
Or a workbench.
Yeah.
Well, they also have 4-inch thick hard maple.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Also, I like, honestly though, if I were going to build like a Roubo, I know a bunch of people that do like urban sawmilling, and that's like the way to get wood. It's less costly.
Yeah.
To just be like, I need a 6-inch thick slab of anything you have.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I use European beech. And trying to think, the 3D printed parts, one of them is printed in PLA, and there's a thumb screw, which is essentially a plastic wooden thumb screw.
Okay.
And anyone that's used any vintage marking gauges will kind of understand what I'm talking about. Like for a very long time, Stanley and a bunch of other companies made marking gauges that have wooden thumb screws. I mean, at some point, I think around the 50s, they realized that they could start using this newfangled material called plastic. And so it's literally a plastic thumb screw that like has the same pitch as like a wooden screw of a similar size. The tap I use on the blocks is a tap. It's a 1/2 inch by 8 threads per inch from the Beal Tool Company. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar.
Yep.
I have one of their kits, which I really like. That's the tap I use. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Little thumb screw, I can print like 20 of them at once on my 3D printer. Which is pretty sweet. It's like a little forest. Like they kind of look like little trees.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what, like, basically, the other thing is the pain in the marking gauge is like a funny thing. I have had a really hard time finding like anyone who could, well, basically like in an ideal world, I'd make them and I'd make them like on my CNC lathe, but then you'd have to heat treat all of them. And that's a little bit like outside of my knowledge at the moment. But there's a material that is the perfect material called piano wire. And for anyone listening who like wants to make their own marking gauge, you should buy a 3-foot length of piano wire. It's readily available on the internet. And piano wire is the same material as like handsaw plates. It's 1095 steel that's been hardened and tempered.
Wow.
Interesting.
And you can cut it with a hacksaw. It sucks to cut with a hacksaw because it's tough as anything, but you can cut it really easily with like a little cutoff wheel and a Dremel. That's what I used to do. And it's really inexpensive. A 3-foot length of it is like $2 or $3 or something. And that's like 30 marking gauge pins worth. So I was doing that for a while. And then I discovered that in the world of throwing darts, people who are really into it, you have like replacement metal tips for their darts, which I'm pretty sure it's made of piano wire or like some high carbon steel that's been hardened. And that's what I use currently. And it's like a perfect thing that comes ready to go. You just need an oddball drill bit size to get that like chin fit. I don't remember what the size is, but I had to buy like 25 tiny, it's like 1.2 millimeters or something.
Okay. Might be a number drill bit or something like that.
It like wasn't a big deal, but it's like they're like a metric size or something.
Okay.
But that's what I use. I just actually like in the last day, I had a big order of them. I ordered like 200 of them, and they're inexpensive. I shouldn't be telling people this because then people are going to like go out and start making and selling marking gauges. But I want people to use hand tools, and if you're not inclined to buy. If you're inclined to make your own tools, like this is like a problem that is really annoying to solve if you don't know about.
Yeah. I've been down the same rabbit hole. It's like, okay, let's see what else is out there in the world that will work in another hobby or another, like you said, sporting goods, stuff like that. I've looked at archery stuff before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And just because we're talking about piano wire, it comes in up to 1/4 inch thick. And so if you like want to make your own awls, I've done that I have 2 or 3 alls I made out of 3/16 piano wire.
Wow.
And
Nice.
if you can chuck it up on your wood lathe, you can file a point onto it. It's not the safest thing to do. And you want to run the lathe at pretty much the lowest speed it'll go.
Sure.
But at least in my case, I have a collet chuck for my metal lathe, which you can buy like any size collet for.
Mhm.
And so I just have a 3/16 collet, and it's when you set it up, it spins really concentrically. And you can just take a coarse file, and it takes like 3 or 4 minutes to make it sharp, basically.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't break the harden. You don't have to treat it afterwards. You're not heating it up too much.
No, not at all. It's the thing with piano wire is it's not that hard. Like, it's not hard enough. You couldn't use it as is for a hand plane iron. Like you would get like 3 shavings, and then you'd have to resharpen.
Yeah. Okay.
But for things where I don't know how to really describe it, but like marking gauge pins don't get dull very easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the engagement's not that high. It's just a little bit of a scrape, and you're.
Yeah. I have a marking gauge that I made in 2020 that has a throwing dart replacement tip as the pin, and it is still super duper sharp, and I use that gauge like daily.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've found that people like to know about how you make the tools, but in some cases, some people will try to make the tools, and that's fine. I've supported many people that have made tools and say, "Hey, what are you using for this?" Yeah, not a problem.
Oh, I am so indebted to a bunch of other people that make tools.
Yeah.
I've just been for 6 years bugging people on Instagram, like, what's that thing in your post? Like, how do I get that?
Yeah. But being a tool maker, you know this, that for someone to make something, there are certain things that you can't buy one of. You have to buy 10 of them. That kind of stuff, and that starts getting kind of expensive and kind of wasteful for someone making their own, because it's like, okay, this is what I can sell it for, but if you were to make it, you're probably going to be you're going to be able to make it cheaper than you could buy it from me, but not that much cheaper, just because of the economies of scale, as far as, hey, I buy 100 of these, not one, and you can't find anyone selling just one of those. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Although if anyone wants to buy throwing dart replacement tips from me, you can just message me on Instagram, and I will sell you some. I have a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've toyed around with that too, is like making a kit. Okay, here's all the hardware you need, because so maybe one of these days, if maybe I was a little bit more go get. Now, what are you doing as far as marketing and stuff like that?
So far I have basically only posted on Instagram.
Okay.
I would eventually like to have an eBay listing for the tool, because it's a fairly, like, I don't want to say fairly popular, but like, it's a pretty hard to get if you want to get one of the original marking gauges. Like, I paid $55 plus shipping for the one that I have, and it's like not like that hurt as I did that, because it's like I lived in the UK. I'm sure I could find one for like $5.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I know they sell on eBay for like that amount of money, and I feel like people would buy this whole thing is because Paul Sellers wrote about this marking gauge like a decade ago in his blog. The problem is that they're not common, and I've never heard of one being in the wild in the US, because it was only sold in the UK. And so people are looking for them, and that's kind of where I got the idea, because I was like, there's no reason that someone can't make this relatively affordably. It's not a very complicated, it's 2 pieces of wood, 2 pieces of plastic, and a piece of steel. But yeah, all I've really done so far is post on Instagram. I've sold like 26 or 27 of them so far. And I've got like 150 more or 160 more that I'm going to be bringing to Handworks.
Nice.
Okay.
So some of y'all are going.
Well, we'll all be there. Yeah.
Cool. Please come and say hi to me. I have a booth. I'm next to the dude from Zen Woo Toolworks.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Cool.
And then I guess through some chance I'm across from why can't I ever remember anyone's name? The gentleman who has a woodworking school in Oregon. Northwest Woodworking Studio.
Yes.
Oh, Greg Rukowski. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
he'll be on the podcast coming up in a few episodes.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
I'll get to meet him again.
Okay.
My current shop is 100 feet away from his old school.
Oh,
Which-
that's
okay,
so
yeah.
cool.
And we've met a couple times, but our paths have only kind of like they used to do the Lee Nielsen events at his school, and I went to 3 or 4 of those, and every year like briefly met him.
Mhm.
But it's cool. I'm sure I'll get to annoy him at Handworks. They're like, oh, we're both from Oregon. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope y'all come and say hi.
Yeah, we will.
Oh,
which
for
which
sure
which building are you going to be in? Do you know?
I do not remember off the top of my head. I think it's the one that's like maybe a big tent.
Okay.
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 Yeah,
I think I
we know where
remember
that
where
is.
that is. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a friend who is coming with me. She just finished a year-long residency at the Sawtooth School in North Carolina,
Mhm.
in like a furniture making residency. She's a chair maker, and it just so happens that like she's driving back to the West Coast as Handworks is happening, and so she'll be there with me helping and maybe selling some stuff. I don't know.
Okay. Cool. Well,
she's-
I
yeah.
don't know about this time, but I know last time they had most of the chair makers in the tent.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Mm.
He was over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
yeah. So you may, there may be a lot for her to see over there. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. Because I know I'm not sure exactly who all's going to be there, but I know Pete Galbert's going to be there. I'm sure Ask going to be there and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yep.
Sweet. I get to meet all my heroes, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's a cool event. It really is. If you're
I
in that,
am very
that
excited.
sphere, yeah, it's really really cool.
Mhm.
Can't wait again. It was
Yeah.
fun a couple years ago. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Will you, John, will you have some of your Mox vices available?
No, I will not. Let me tell you about
No.
yeah. I've been for the past few months just doing nothing.
Yeah. So
Glad I bring that up.
no. It's I'm gonna get really in the weeds here for a sec. So the screws that I use on those, they're wooden screws. I make them with the Beal toolkit. I have for the longest time, pretty much from the moment I started making and selling those, I have wanted to switch from a 60-degree thread to a 90-degree thread. And this is like in the weeds machinist stuff, but
Yeah.
when you have a 90-degree thread in wood, it's just a lot less likely to chip, and you can have fewer threads per inch, which means a faster turning screw. And unfortunately, I have a little manual metal lathe, and the coarsest screw you can make on it is 8 threads per inch.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to go down to 5 threads per inch to do it. And I've just been like waffling on getting a slightly larger metal lathe in order to do it. And I basically don't want to make those Mox vices until I can switch, because I care deeply about how good they are. Yeah, so I will not have any. I did make some earlier, really at the end of last year, but they were, I had a bunch of screws that were just in a shoebox, and I was like, well, I haven't made a tool in a little while. I should like just make some vices. So, more to come. That one day I will have them for sale again.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else in the works?
I have nothing. Well, okay. I have prototypes of an all wood, like wooden divider. And I actually have one of the prototypes right here, but
Okay.
people can't hear or can't see it.
Yeah.
That is something that I've had, like, I've been messing with for 3 years. I would really, really like to make it come to reality. And I'm sort of hoping, basically, like the last 3 months have been just every second of free time I have has been like dedicated to getting to the finish line, which is going to Handworks.
Mhm.
And it would be really cool if I had an extra 6 months to prepare, because if that had been the case, I probably would have had like some wooden dividers to bring. But the design I have is a rough reimagining of wooden dividers that Ulmia made in Germany. And if anyone's curious what that looks like, you can go onto the Jim Bode Tools website, jimbodetools.com. He's a antique vintage hand tool dealer. If you type in Ulmia in the search bar, there's only one set of Ulmia dividers that he has sold, and it's this set. And the reason I bring this up is it's two wings, or not two wings, 2 legs, and they're the same, and it's like one's flipped on the other, and they are both machined and turned, which is kind of an annoying thing to do. But the ones that I have prototypes for, they're 10-inch dividers, approximately, and I have one set that actually have like the metal pins, and they work really well. So that's like hopefully the next tool that I do. But at this point, I feel like all I can think about is like getting to Handworks.
Yeah. What you should do is just put one together and just have it there as a talking piece that it's something else to look forward to.
I love that advice. I should be done this batch of marking gauges in the next week.
Okay, so maybe.
And so like I'll have 3 weeks to do something, and now I have a working CNC machine that I can just it would not be hard for me to knock out a prototype to bring.
Interesting.
It would also be, sorry, Kyle. It would also be nice to, kind of, if you're ever going to find a crowd to pick somebody's brain on hand tools, like that's the group. That's your biggest concentration of people. What do you think about this? What would you do here?
Yeah. Make sure you find time to leave your booth and go visit other people's booths.
Oh yeah, and talk,
because that's one of the, I guess, detriments of being a vendor, or being a vendor there, for lack of better words, or exhibitor, should I say? I guess that's the better word.
Yeah.
Is not getting away from your booth to see what else is going on. I mean, last time we were there, I think Mark was, he had his booth, and I think he got away like maybe for an hour one time.
Maybe. It was tight. And even us, we were hanging out. We got to walk like twice.
Yeah,
like, we were also just there in the booth with them. So
it's
a whole lot going on. It's kind of sensory overload in a way, in a handworking kind of way, where you could go in a million different directions if you want to. But if you're a presenter, obviously, or a booth runner, you want to obviously be there for your product and your talking points and those kind of things. So, but like if you're in that tent, if the tent is similar to what we saw last time, it's basically a rectangle of activity.
Mm-hmm.
And so people will just mingle through and around and through and around and through and around. And you will be literally within no more than 20 feet from the furthest person, presenting. So you can pull the ear of who he and she, whoever is around there. It's a great just space by its own, but the space, like in Amana as a whole, there's just like pocket after pocket after pocket that everything is in. So you're kind of isolated, but you're among at the same time. It's very interesting, but a great opportunity, like Kyle said, like to get those ideas to bounce and just present what you're working on, what you're thinking of. I mean, we saw a lot of that. I mean, it was hell. I mean, Roy broke a aluminum cradle lathe. Well, it was a prototype, and they brought it, and it was like he was like bang 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 boom, and he snapped something, and they're like, well, okay, we'll work on that.
Well, Roy has a reputation of breaking things at events.
Well, he sure does.
That's not the first thing he's broken at a conference.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great opportunity, but you can easily. Well, I'm glad you got someone that's coming with you.
Part of the motivation with that was like, I'm gonna want to. There's a few things I want to try to buy while I'm there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we'll see how that goes, but I'm like so excited.
Yeah, it should be a great time. So, are you flying or driving or what?
I was originally going to drive, and then I did not realize how far away it was.
That's about to stay.
How's it for you?
I can take a month off of work. No, I will be flying, and
so you're going to be shipping all these stuff, and
my friend's mom actually lives in Nebraska, about 3 hours away. So I'll be shipping everything to her in like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it all goes smoothly.
Yeah.
And I'll show up with a ton of marking gauges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd love to be helping you out, but from a previous conversation that we talked last week, Wilbur Pan is picking me up and driving. He's driving from the East Coast through Ohio, and then I'm his companion all the way to Iowa because it's another 8.5 hours from me to there. So we're gonna be on the road a long, long time.
Yeah,
It's a poke.
Maybe he'll teach you everything he knows about Kana.
I am with a absorb. I'm a sponge in the passenger seat. That's
Yeah,
all I can do.
I will say, luckily my friend is going to be driving us around for the entirety of my little trip. Yeah, she basically, like, I don't know if they did this on purpose. Probably not, because Handworks doesn't happen regularly. But like, her residency ends in like a week, and she's just going west to come back to Portland.
That's wild.
And we used to work together in the same wood shop where we previously worked, and the previous Handworks that happened, like, both of us were like, man, we should have planned ahead and gone. It didn't happen. So I'm excited, but I was going to say, it would be cool if Wilbur Pan picked me up, because I know almost nothing about Japanese tools, because I'm a user of Western, European style tools.
Sean, you have to tell us if he Shishugi bond his dash.
Yeah, I gotta see what's on it. Well, I think he's renting a car, so it's not gonna.
He's renting.
Yeah, he's renting.
You really need to tell us if he did that.
Yeah. But maybe I'll use a saw while he's driving to make something.
Yeah, right.
I feel like, no, don't hit that bump.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you did ride with him, John, you would be making Japanese tools when you got back to Oregon.
Dude, I'll just, on that note, I would love to make Japanese style marking gauges at some point.
Sure.
Which is something I use. I have one that I really like.
Yeah.
And it's not really that much different than, so, maybe at some point that might become a thing. It'd be cool to do one with a wooden screw, which I do have the ability to make wooden screws in various sizes. So yeah, we'll see.
Fun information. The Japanese wooden screws turn in the opposite direction.
Are you serious?
No, not at all. No, but all their saws pull instead of push. They're
That's good. That's good.
Just saying.
That is good.
That's really good. I can also make reverse threaded wooden screws if I
There
really
you go. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, before we leave you, I always ask people this, and I'm not sure it's apropos to you for the last few months, but what do you enjoy doing when you're not in the shop?
What do I enjoy doing? Well, one of the things that I do occasionally, I would like to do more of, is basket making.
Okay.
That's like almost woodworking. It's like kind of woodworking sometimes. And my friend who's going to be at Handworks with me is the person who kind of introduced me to making baskets. She's an incredible basket weaver. And so from time to time, I like to make baskets. So that's one thing. Honestly, that's probably the only other real hobby I have, because like woodworking, it just consumes all my time.
Yeah, some of those hand weave baskets are just incredible. They go for big bucks too.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where like basket making involves a lot of tree materials that are not wood, which is really cool. One of the materials is willow, which is a tree. And my girlfriend, who also makes baskets, she just got some like 3 or 4 year old willow, and it's like 1.25 inch diameter, like long dowels, and she peeled the bark to make baskets with it. And you can also like just use like, I guess it would be called like coppiced willow, so it's like 1 year old.
Okay.
My friend who's going to be at Handworks, she primarily uses willow, and it's like, it's like you get it wet, and it's like it's like bending wood. It's like when it's hot and wet, it bends like rubber, and then it dries and it's wood again.
Right.
And it's the same thing with like a lot of the tree barks that are used. Like cedar bark is kind of that way, although cedar bark's not that hard. But like about 1 year ago, I got to take a really awesome basket making class with a basket weaver named Birch Bark Beth. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with her. It was an awesome class. I made a birch bark basket. Had so much fun. And birch bark is kind of a crazy material where like it's sort of wood, but it's also completely different than birch wood. It is super tough and extraordinarily rot resistant.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'd like to do more birch bark stuff, but it is not really a material that's available where I live because there are birch trees that grow here, but they're not native, and so the quality of the bark is not good. You need colder, apparently. So, and it's like a whole thing.
The birch around us, when I was in Boy Scouts, we used to pull it as kindling because it would burn really nice. We would just like pull it and it would come off as like a coil off.
Literally. At the right time of year, it pops off the tree.
Yeah, we would primarily do that in the winter. We had like a early February camping thing where I know I recorded a -8 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oof.
And so make your own fire kind of stuff, and you find that white tree and pull it off. You're sure to start a fire with it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, let's move on to tell us where folks can find you on the interwebs, and especially for those that are not going to Handworks, where they might pick up one of your kits.
The place I am most active is Instagram, and you can find me. It's just at Jon Joffe. It's just JONJOFFE, all one word. I recently re-downloaded TikTok and have been not really posting there, but I will be posting there more in the future. And you can find me on TikTok at Jon Joffe Toolworks. And I also have a website, which is jonjoffetoolworks.co. I think that covers it. I feel like maybe I should start a Substack. That seems to be like what will people do. I don't know if I have the bandwidth to start writing, but maybe one day.
Maybe.
Sure.
Cool. Well, let's move on to our fortnightly beer choices. So I will start us off. Last week I talked about the Spagat, and that's what I'm having today.
Yeah.
So that is basically Miller High Life, the champagne of beers.
Oh my God, Kyle.
1 ounce of Apropol, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, and a squeeze of lemon juice. And it's a delightful little summertime drink.
Yep, Brian.
You haven't heard of these, Brian?
No, I hadn't until last time, Kyle. It is very interesting, but it is real. If you look it up, it is a very real thing.
Maybe we'll try it in Amana.
I can bring some High Life, man. You find the other crap, I'll get that simple beer. But
it's a delightful summer drink, and they go down way too easy. So anyway,
well, that's dangerous for us. But
yes. With that, Jeff, what are you sipping on?
Just some spring water.
Good for you.
Spring water.
Yeah,
Okay.
spring water.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Brian?
I'm drinking it's called Big Mango. It's a American double IPA from Treehouse Brewing. It's pretty good.
Does it have mango in it?
It tastes like mango. It's got a little hint.
Okay.
It's
but a mango double, like, ooh.
Yeah, it's
in the high 7s, 8% range. What do we got?
That's a great question. It does go down rather easy, and I could definitely see this being a summertime drink, but the IPA 8.2.
There we go.
Yeah. So
there it is.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Have a couple of these, and you're going to be okay for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you know? But Sean, how about you?
Similar, not as heavy alcohol wise, but a local brewery to me, Inside the Five. It's this old NFL kicker that is from the area, whatever. I saw this in the store the other day. I'm like, I've never seen that before. It's Evie Sweets, which is like one of their dogs' names. I don't know why, but it's a rhubarb vanilla blonde. And so it's got that rhubarb-like tartness.
Is it sour?
No, it's tart. I wouldn't say it's sour.
Okay.
But it's really good, and it's like 5%. Like, it's nothing like crazy. But quite tasty. I actually might bring some of this stuff because it not this but that brewery, because it's local to me and there's no way it distributes anywhere near you guys. I might actually bring some.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'll see what I can do.
I'm a big Dolphins fan.
Yeah, he was a kicker for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so John, what are you sipping on?
I have what flavor is this? Lemon Spindrift.
Nice.
That we get it at one of the few benefits I have at my job is near limitless Spindrift.
Really?
Nice.
I put that when I left today. Yeah.
Cool. What is a Spindrift? I'm not familiar with that.
It's seltzer with probably like 5% fruit juice. So it's like a flavored seltzer, but it doesn't taste.
It has actual fruit juice in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a seltzer with like a spritz of lemon in it is basically what it's. But they have like a dozen flavors. and I really like them. So
They have
Okay.
a no-hito, not a mojito, but a
Okay.
no-hito.
what flavor is
Ah.
that?
It's lime and mint,
Oh, nice.
apparently, which is
I,
what a mojito is without the alcohol.
Yeah.
That explains why I don't know. I've never had alcohol before, so most alcohol like cultural references are completely over
Sure.
my head. Yeah, that sounds good though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lime and mint is a good combination.
Yeah. Well, word of advice: don't hang out with us on
No.
Handworks.
So, you guys want me to bring anything? Like, I live in like Portland, Oregon. It's basically like the woods. It's like heaven for woodworkers, and then people who are into artisanal alcohol.
Beer
Yes,
culture.
yes.
Yeah. The West
Yeah,
Coast.
I think the world now is into artisanal alcohol.
Yeah,
that's
this
very
point.
true. That's very true.
there's a lot of kombucha here. Let me tell you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. I imagine. Well, with that, let's move on to our feedback. So, what do we have this week?
All right. So we're looking at episodes 617 and 618, which is Peter Follinsby. We have a couple pieces of feedback here. The first one is from A.W. Smith 625. He or she says, enjoyed the episode, hoping to take a box class with Mr. Follinsby in 2027.
Nice.
I want to do that.
Yeah, me too. And then we have a couple pieces here. First one is from Silver River Chairs. Frequent commenter on the show here, says, great episode. Very excited about Peter's book on the legends of chair making.
As I think we all are. That's
Yeah.
going to be an
Yeah.
awesome book.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave and Brandy.
Yep. Silver River's awesome.
And then Bill's Yard, longtime contributor to the show here, says, another great show. Loved the axe story. With a couple emojis here. I want to go with safety glasses on that little middle emoji there.
Yes.
But if you would like to leave us a piece of comments, criticism, advice, lottery numbers, we'll take it. The best thing to do is leave it on the MWA podcast Instagram, and it will help us kind of curate the show going forward. And also, if you can, on the podcast device of choice, if you leave us a maximum star review, it will help get the show out in front of additional people.
And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.